1 clap thing?
Sure.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Like that? Okay. I think there's maybe a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
But I guess it doesn't matter as long as it's close to being lined up, right?
Yeah, as long as we're responding to each other. Like,
yeah, totally.
You can line it up enough.
Cool. That sounds good. So the viewers at home have probably noticed we're not in the same place. Though, when are you going back to Florida?
In like 4 weeks, so I'll be in Utah for a little bit.
Oh, okay. And I actually might be in Utah next week, so maybe our next podcast will be in person as well, depending on when we want to take care of that.
That'd be cool.
I'm actually coming to be on your show. So, by the way, Sally and I have been talking. I'm going to be there on Monday, I think. So
that's awesome.
Finally, I'm getting on your show.
That's so
that
cool.
You're working on. It's been a long time coming. So Monday,
everyone else has been on it, dude. You're the last one.
Yeah.
Like the Newtons,
awesome.
Tag,
So
Michaela, Normandy, everybody.
Yeah. Sweet. And for those listening at home, this has nothing to do with Mystery Squad at all. This is fully Cole's day job that we're referencing here. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited, dude. That's great.
Yeah, that'll be great. Also, you saw my part 2 Outlandish video about our trip. So that was probably a good thing just to be like, refresh the memory on some of the elements. Obviously, I didn't talk about everything in that video, and we can get in some more. That was a very succinct,
compact
summary of it, and we can use this time to really get into the details of it. So hopefully if somebody encounters that video, I can direct them to here to get the more in-depth stuff, and then maybe somebody watching this might go check it out. We can cross-pollinate. You know what I'm saying?
As they say. Excuse me. If any of you haven't seen it, Levi's channel Outlandish has a really good 15-minute breakdown of our excursion in Tasmania with little video snippets and stuff in there. It's pretty great.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm feeling better and better about the videos. It's kind of like every video you make something better. I think Mr. B said that or something, and he's like,
"Oh, nice.
Don't concentrate on getting 1 million subscribers. Concentrate on making 100 videos and making something better every video." So it's kind of a fall in love with the process sort of philosophy, which I think is just helpful in a lot of stuff. Physical health and fitness, and falling in love with the process can be a powerful thing. Hey man, ice cream is an integral part of any good fitness regimen, in my opinion, because you need it. Mm-hmm. Actually, in my neurodivergent health and fitness webinar, which is a whole separate thing that we don't have to get into right now, but I made a webinar on health and fitness, and that's one of the main things I say is we should be eating delicious food every single day. Mm-hmm. If not, something's wrong with your life. Nice. We're on Earth for a short amount of time. We should be eating delicious stuff, and you can do that. So let's talk about the delicious stuff that we found experientially in Tasmania. You like that segue?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And now all I can think of is lamb and rosemary rolls and hot pies. And gas station food from Tasmania. I forgot
about the gas station food from Tasmania. It was so freaking good, dude. Mm-hmm. The freaking gas station Tasmanian food was excellent. I miss it. What was the brand of the pies there?
Pie Face was the name of the store. It's like a gas station store, like an AM PM. It's called Pie Face.
I totally forgot about Pie Face, dude. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Sweet. Well, we left off last time talking about when we finally got to the Atlas Plateau, and you were kind of getting into that. So do you just want to pick up where you left off, maybe?
Sure. Yeah. So we roll up to our closest approach by car at night on the second day on the island, and we get there. It's too late to do anything. It's dark, so we're like, okay, camping roadside. Get up in the morning, hike in. So we do that. We get up in the morning, and there is an old, out-of-use road that goes in the direction that we want to go, although we want to go much further than where the road ends. So we start out on this little road, which is at this point basically a footpath. Very, very overgrown.
Trees growing into the middle of it. like totally hasn't been a road for like 100 years probably.
And it takes like a steep turn, like downhill and into what looks like just a black abyss because of all the tree cover. It's pretty great. So trek on through that.
Where I point at it in the video, and I'm just like, it's a portal to another dimension. And like the road, I remember the road itself was made out of like crystal quartz looking stuff.
Oh yeah, there's quartz all over the place. Yeah, or quartzite
I
or something.
Actually have. This is part of the quartz. I can show the camera
nice.
Maybe. You can't see it very well, but this is from. I actually have a couple of objects from the Atlas Plateau. So
that's fun.
Yeah, it was like fantastical going down that road, and very long and very wet. We soaked ourselves. It wasn't even raining. It was just the tree cover. I remember just like
wet grass and trees and everything. Yeah. So we make our way through there, get to where the road ends, and then push through the tree line because we know our bearing. And actually there was still something of it wasn't a foot trail, but it was like the intended trajectory to get to whatever that place was short of the Atlas River, that little creek we wound up at. There were a couple of ribbons tied on the trees that were like, this is the way to this creek. So we follow those to start out, get to this creek, and had a moment of confusion where we were like, are we already at the Atlas River? This is smaller than we thought it was.
Totally.
Quickly realized we're not there yet. Press on in the direction that we know we want to go. Finally get to the riverside at the Atlas River, check it all out, and I'll turn it over to you from there because we're there now.
Sure, yeah. Something about that I want to say about the ribbons is those saved our lives multiple times. The ribbons were like kind of difficult to find because some would be on trees that had fallen down. I don't know if the ribbons were from like who put them there, but it was a long time.
That's right, and they went past that creek. It was just that they were impossible to find. I forgot.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know if it was some sort of scouting thing or like mapping. Somebody had put ribbons there. And we decided that following that would be better because this plateau was anything but. It was actually just the bush, the Tarkeen, the jungle, whatever you want to call it. It was super dense and easy to get lost in, even though it was like a pretty relatively short amount of time to the creek from the end of the trail. It certainly felt like we were bushwhacking, even though we had those ribbons every once in a while. And then eventually went off the ribbons to find the creek itself. But we went to Atlas Creek. It was definitely bigger than the other one. Rushing water, some waterfalls. We could stand on some rocks in the middle of it. I have some footage from that moment that I included in my video. That is like my camera is like fogging up, like you can't barely see, and it's all muffled because it was so like humid in the air and everything. But it was like an accomplishment, and I think the coolest thing is we didn't leave any trail cams on that creek. We left it on another water source and another location
and in between on the Atlas.
Yeah. But getting to the creek, it was just a real huge sense of accomplishment. I remember to be like, we saw this place, this inhospitable place on a map months ago, and we're here. And it's off of a road, it's off of a path, off of a road, in the bush, in the middle of Tasmania, where nobody should be. And it was just cool to soak in the wildness of that area as one of the like most remote places either of us had ever been, and that was really cool. Yeah,
it was as beautiful as we could have wished for. Like I don't think we went there thinking we're gonna see something beautiful. We just went there thinking we're gonna see something remote. We're gonna find a good place to put a trail camp. But you get there, and it's like, especially by the time you're creekside at Atlas Creek, it's just, trees with these big, frawny, like crazy foliage and just a ton of like fallen, wet, decomposing trees covered in moss, and so like pretty good canopy cover, rushing water. The water like all over that part of the island is just red brown, just thick with tannin acid. So you just got this discolored water, just crazy greens and oranges and browns everywhere. Everything was just lush, wet, beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
Totally, yeah. Super, super wild. It felt like untouched. And that was kind of like also kind of woven into the story of what we were doing there. Like we were looking for this extinct creature. We were hoping we would find evidence of it. And just being able to see how primeval all of that felt, it made it very much... It was more convincing that we would find something. You hear the reports of Tasmania and you're like, oh, like there's farmers everywhere and people everywhere. Obviously somebody would have seen a thylacine. But it took us like 10 minutes into the first couple hours of bushwhacking that were like, anything. There could be dinosaurs out here and people wouldn't know about them. Like it was that dense and kind of definitely, even though it was like physically exhausting and taxing, it was kind of emotionally and spiritually even like invigorating because we're like, we're here, we're doing what we need to do, and that was cool.
Absolutely. Sure was.
Yes, so we set our trail cams, we baited them with some really, really stinky chicken that had totally gone bad. So we have mixed feelings about that, if we should have done that or not, but we'll get to that later.
Did we do like an every other? Did we like bait one, not bait one, something like that?
Yeah, we didn't bait them all for sure. But yeah, we like the chicken was disgusting by the time we baited it, and we're like, oh well, hopefully that'll bring something in because this is a pretty big geographical location. But yeah, like I think both of us question if that was the right course of action now, and if we don't know if we would approach it that way in the future. But it seemed at the time a good idea to be like, okay, well, if there's a carnivore out here, let's bring it in as easy as we can. So
right, yeah, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, like we didn't really have any other reason to set the camera.
Right?
Yeah, totally. And we did get quite a bit of footage of animals for sure.
Totally, yeah.
Which I also was just reviewing. And actually what I like about the footage, I spent about 10 minutes yesterday comparing that mystery footage that we have, which by the way, we have a mystery clip that we're both pretty certain is a stray dog or cat. It's kind of the hind quarters of something moving off the thing, and I actually got a screen grab of some thylacine footage in the same exact position and like went through, and I was like, there are similarities, but I can't say it's a thylacine. If we were one of those other YouTubers that's obsessed about these things that have put forth some of the crappiest evidence we've ever seen, we could have made the argument like, we might have found a thylacine and then tried to capitalize on that, but at the end of the day, it's probably a cat or something.
Yeah, we're here to tell you it's almost certainly a cat. Like, but
totally.
We just don't know is the case.
For sure, we don't know exactly what the creature is, but comparing it with a thylacine, like the thing you can't see very well in the footage, but our creature looks like its hindquarters are not striped, but its tail is, and you can't tell for sure. But that's the opposite of a thylacine. Like their tails, on the end of them are not striped. On the base, they are a little bit by the, rump. But there was something weird with the gait, a little half hop, but it wasn't
hop
hopping.
on its way out.
It was other feet, and we know the thylacine kind of did that. So that was the reason why I wanted to analyze it. But I think we can conclusively say that was not a thylacine in one of our footage.
Yeah, probably not.
But anyway, to get back to the story, we decided after we set because we were ready to just camp out there for 10 days in the bush. We were ready just to sleep, camp out in our rental car for the whole 10 days, setting up trail cams in different places. But we realized, like, okay, as far away as we can get from our trail cams, the better, probably. The more likely it's going to be that we're going to capture something. So we decided to actually go on a whole road trip across Tasmania, which we hadn't planned to do. We were ready to camp, like I said. But we decided to take one of the trail cams with us and just set it up every night wherever we were around the island. And that was a really good idea because we got some cool footage out of those as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that did just increase our chances of catching anything. And we saw pretty much every animal in Tasmania in the wild besides the Tasmanian devil.
Which was like the one
we wanted to get. And you know what? That mystery animal, we should compare it to a devil as well. I think it's a little big.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But devils are also kind of bigger than I expected anyway. Like I imagine them being smaller than they actually are. So again, I think it's a cat or a dog. But
we did see devil scat. We saw
did,
devil
yeah.
scat during the daytime. Yeah. So
We
we
did, yeah.
know we were near some. But
totally. And I think that was near the coast. And we
that
set
was by
yeah.
Penguin Island or whatever.
Yeah, we set up a cam near where that scat was during the night, and we got several different creatures, mostly possums that night, but some of my favorite footage actually. So anyway, I'll hand it back over to you. We left the Savage River National Park and started on our road trip.
I'll add to the road trip thing that part of the thinking was we don't want to just get far away from those trail cams. We want to leave them untouched for a long period of time. Because if we're within the same 10 square miles as the trail cams, we're starting the car every day. You know, like these things, they range a bit from what we understand. So we wanted to leave the area undisturbed for as long as possible for things to just make their way through without fear of running into humans.
Totally.
So we just cleanly split from the area. We're going elsewhere. And that just kind of gave us an opportunity to go check out, like, tons of other spots. So we kind of charted a course going around the perimeter of the island and then up through the middle, whatever that central rise is called, I forget, and then make our way back eventually to the spot. But along the way, we tried to focus on spots that we thought could also be just like potential thylacine habitat, and all of them were longer shots than where we left our long-term cameras, but just checking in at other places, and we got to take in some real cool sights along the way, and like you said, see almost every kind of animal that's on the island, which was fantastic. And some of them only once, and some of them were just real lucky catches, and felt very blessed with what we got to see while we were there.
Totally. Yeah. The wombat experience specifically was awesome because we had seen what was probably roadkill wombats a couple times, but there was one time where Cole caught it right on the side of the road, and we actually got to get out and get kind of near it and take some video and stuff, and that was super cool. Yeah, we got a real close up look to that wombat, and those guys are big
and friggin' cute, man.
Yeah. Oh, and then the eagle. What was the name of the eagle again?
So there was the first one we saw. Yeah, the first one was a white-bellied sea eagle. And we saw that thing in flight, and Levi got a real good video of it flying, like, from outside the car, because we were driving along the road, and he's filming it. And that thing was just so majestic and pretty. And then several days later, we're driving, and we see this giant, broad-shouldered bird whose head is just, like, eclipsed by a branch. We couldn't see it, but it was tall, perched in a tree. We're like, oh, my gosh. And we had read about the wedge-tailed eagle before, so we were hoping to get to see one of these, and that was, this big, brown, beautiful eagle. It's perched, so we pull the car over, turn around, and look at it, and I think we got some pictures and videos, but it's just sitting there, and then after about 3 minutes, it just poops off the edge of the branch and just takes off as gracefully and beautifully as it can.
Yeah,
that was a great sight.
That was a great one. And I also like the first one is say it again, the
white-bellied sea eagle.
White-bellied sea eagle. So what's cool about that eagle that I want to add is that the way that it looks is the inspiration for the golden eagle in Rescuers Down Under. And that was really cool because that movie kept coming back. Obviously, I watched it a lot as a kid. I don't know if it was a staple in your family as well, but
I watched it a couple times, I think.
Yeah, so it's about, a kid finding the last surviving member of this species and fighting for it and protecting it and stuff. And so it was cool to see that as like the first, I don't know, it just like symbolized to me that like we're on the right path and that like this is the kind of work that we want to be doing. And
totally.
Yeah, I had a dream actually while we were in Tasmania that featured the eagle from Rescuers Down Under, and it was just a real good, actually the whole reason why I started the Outlandish channel is because it came to me while we were in Tasmania. Kind of bit by bit over the days, I wanted to create something to document these trips we've been on that I've been on and stuff, and that it was a channel to kind of do anything with, but definitely focusing on the travel and the treasure hunting and the legends and stuff like this. So we have Tasmania to thank for that as well, which is a cool thing.
Yeah.
The real treasure is the YouTube channels we started along the way.
That's fantastic. So here's the thing. We're trying to keep it close to a tight 30. And I want to talk about everything. Aspect of every beautiful thing we saw while we were there.
Totally, yeah.
But do we do this as a 3-parter? Is that what we do?
Maybe we do.
Or do we want to get back to the Thylacine?
And you know, if we do a 3-parter, we could also involve potential theories and sightings like the Papua New Guinea stuff. Like what's next, like what is the next trip we would go on, and I feel like that would kind of tie that up. If you're open to doing a 3-parter before we move on to some of the other stuff we're going to talk about. I'm open to it.
So, cool. I guess we can keep talking about like the trip as it pertains to the Thylacine search for now, and then just maybe we spill into a 3rd part.
Totally.
But so we go eastward along the north side of the island. St. Helens, round the corner, down to Coles Bay, around the corner, down to whatever that southernmost point was.
Or whatever,
Port Arthur. Oh yeah. That's
that was
where
the island, right?
Was or something?
Yeah. And then we went over to I fished some oysters out of the ocean there myself and cracked them open, which changed my life. Also, bro, I had oysters a week ago. I had a severe allergic reaction. I had 14 hives, and I'm like,
that's crazy.
That did not happen in Tasmania. Like, I did not have an allergic reaction to the Tasmanian oysters, but I did have to the ones that are here. So anyway, Tasmania's magic. That's all I can say.
Crazy.
But yeah, Port Arthur was cool, and just like it was super cool. We roughed it. We stayed in the car every night, which is not the most comfortable thing. And it took copious amounts of caffeine and burger rings to keep us going. Which was the best snack. I wish I had burger rings.
Bro.
Oh, man.
For me, it was the chunky Kit Kats. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Just let's talk routine for a second.
Yeah.
Every day we passed through a town, it was a guava Rockstar, a chunky Kit Kat, and a lamb and rosemary hand pie. Oh my gosh. I could have stayed on that diet eternally. That was just the best round I've ever had, man.
Yeah, the snacks were great. The snacks are great.
Yeah. So we're doing this, we're driving through, we decide that as we're making our way through the middle of the island, where a couple of the coastal places we picked had like some coastal heath and some other things going on that were known to be attractive to the Thylacine back in the day. We don't know specifically about sightings pertaining to those regions, but the type of landform and stuff was supposed to be something that they were into. So we checked out some places that matched some of the descriptions you find online of their habitat. But then going back up through the middle of the island where you're going through a lot of farmland and stuff, we didn't like our chances quite as much. But you get to a nice mountainous area right in the middle of the island where the farmland, kind of stops as you start climbing, and we talked to some people who. What was the name of the town that they were about the Tassie Tiger?
Yeah, it's where they had the themed restaurant, and I have the
clip. A bar with a giant Thylacine wooden carving on it.
Yeah, Thylacine Restaurant, Tasmania. I'll see if I can find it real quick because that was a significant place.
So, yeah, we roll into this town. The sign is just their tourist trap is Tasmanian tiger themed stuff.
Totally,
so,
yeah.
They're like Tassie country, this is where a lot of them were seen back in the day, back when they were populous enough to run out onto people's farms and potentially mess with their poultry. So there were historically plenty of sightings in the area, and so now they sell stories about it, basically.
Okay,
and we went to a restaurant.
It is called the Mole Creek Hotel. It's Mole Creek. That's the town, Mole Creek.
Mole Creek. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. So in Mole Creek, we go to this restaurant and we talk to the owners, who are, they have stuff in their restaurant that's like named after the Tasmanian tiger and whatnot. And so they know all the historical stuff and they know what tourists are interested in. But they also are a touch point for people passing through who have had their own experiences. So they kind of collect stories that way. So talking to the owners, we got some real cool secondhand, I guess, stories of things that had happened with it, stuff from 10 years ago and then stuff from like 4 months ago and whatnot. And do you want to touch on any of those?
Yeah, I mean, there was the big one, right? Which we can talk about.
The bones.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the sequence of events because we were directed to like a certain old man in a town. And that wasn't Mole Creek. That was a different town later on or earlier. Anyway, there's an old guy that we tracked down and talked to, and he didn't really have anything to say. But he's maybe the one that directed us to Mole Creek in the first place, I think.
That's what it was.
And that's why we showed up there, because we stopped at a random place on the way, asked the lady. She told us to track down this guy. We tracked down this guy. He told us to go to Mole Creek. We go to Mole Creek, and then we're in this restaurant. And this isn't the hotel. This is a different one, because we're kind of just trying to interact with the local people. And so, and I think this is the same place that this happened, but this is how I remember it, the next morning or whatever,
okay.
Where we go to this place and we order some burgers at this restaurant, and they have a map where we can put pins from the places we're from, and there's people from all over the world. And also, as we're going into this place, there's an old man that we pass on the way out, and we like exchanged words with him, and it was like super weird, but I can't remember what it is he said. Do you remember what he said?
Yeah, he goes, humans are terrible.
Oh, yeah, just out of nowhere. Humans are terrible. I remember that because we riffed on that joke for like 5 days afterwards.
Yeah.
The guy became
we're talking about the Thylacine with him. I don't know how we got into a conversation with him when, like, I think we were leaving and he was going in, but it's like, we got somewhere we're going. He's hungry, and for some reason we stopped to talk to each other. And we got onto it about the Thylacine, and he's just like, yeah, it makes me so sad watching that footage from the last Thylacine in the Hobart Zoo. And humans are terrible. What we've done to this planet.
And it got to the point where he became just a character in our mind that we riffed on a whole bunch, and for some reason he became a serial killer in our jokes, and I don't know where that came from. I don't know. That's what
your jokes.
You get kind of loopy.
You were sleep deprived, and you went hard.
I was sleep deprived. Yeah,
on that one.
I think I was hallucinating. You got to do stuff on the road to keep yourself sane, or insane in my case. But you know what? We're actually approaching the 30-minute mark, and this is going to be a perfect ending because while we're in this restaurant talking to these people, we're like, okay, are there any modern stories or anybody who like knows their grandpa who had one or whatever? And they told us, oh, we know an old man who saw a dead one. He saw a skeleton, and it was like new, and he knows where it is. So that might be a good place to stop, and we'll talk more about that next time in episode 3 in the wrap up. Cool. But it was the feeling of hearing that was pretty cool.
Yeah, amen, dude.
Sweet. Final words, Cole, before we log off?
No matter what anyone says, the Thylacine's... I'm going to try that again. Okay. No matter what anyone says, the Thylacine's still out there.
It is.
And we're going to find it. And if we don't, someone is. And we're just stoked.
Yep, and it's going to be us.
That's my final
thought. Someone else does, it's going to be our other personalities that we discover because we're sleep deprived in the middle of Tasmania. All right, everybody, thanks for logging in, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Mystery Squad out.